Let today be the funeral of your excuses. Bury them, mourn them if you must, but do not dare resurrect them. For too long you have spoken the language of limitation. I'm too tired. I don't have enough time. I wasn't born into the right family. Excuses are the lullabies mediocrity sings to put your potential to sleep. And if you listen, you'll die with your dreams still inside you. But you are not meant for that grave. You were born for greatness. You were designed to evolve, not remain stagnant. You were given the divine power to recreate yourself, to become someone so strong, so disciplined, so relentless, that even your past would be ashamed to stand beside you. The man or woman you are today, that is not your final form, that is only the clay. But if you do not pick up the hammer and chisel of personal responsibility, if you do not strike with precision, with consistency, you will remain an unfinished statue in the museum of could-have-beens. You must decide now and forever that your old self is unfit for your future. Break the mirror, kill the version of yourself that tolerates procrastination. Destroy the voice that whispers later. Silence the thoughts that ask, what if I fail? Instead, start asking, what if I win? What if I become the one who defied all odds? Transformation is not a ceremony. It is a war fought in the silence of early mornings, in the sweat of lonely nights, in the discipline of saying no to what feels good and yes to what builds strength. You will be misunderstood. You will be laughed at. Your friends may leave. Your comfort will abandon you, but so will your old limits. You cannot climb a mountain and carry your excuses in your backpack. They are too heavy. They will anchor you to the base while your destiny waits at the summit. Success demands you become unrecognizable, so evolved that even those who once knew you begin to doubt whether they ever really did. So sharp that mediocrity cuts its hand just trying to hold on to you. You think you have time. Let me remind you the clock is ticking, and it's not counting up, it's counting down. So how do you begin? You begin by keeping the promises you make to yourself. You wake up earlier than your excuses. You study when no one watches. You train when no one cheers. You move forward when it feels like every force in the universe is pushing you back. Because every single moment you act in faith, in discipline, in boldness, you're building the version of you the world has never seen. You are crafting the future in the dark, until one day you step out into the light and the world gasps because the old you is gone, and in your place stands a force of will, a titan of purpose, a being not born by chance, but by choice. You did not come here to be average. You did not come here to make excuses. You came here to become unrecognizable. So rise and begin again. Excuses are lies dressed in logic. They parade around your mind disguised as reasons, but make no mistake, every excuse is a thief that robs you of discipline, of progress, and ultimately of your destiny. The moment you give them permission to stay, they grow roots in your life, and soon they become more familiar than your dreams. Excuses are seductive. They appeal to your emotions, they sound rational, and they give you temporary relief. But relief is not transformation, and if you truly desire greatness, if you truly wish to become unrecognizable from who you were, then your first act of power must be to stand trial against every excuse you've ever allowed to breathe. Think about this. How many dreams have died at the hands of I'm too tired? How many goals were buried beneath I don't have time? How many bold actions were never taken because someone whispered, what if I fail? Every man or woman who has ever risen above the average began by declaring war on their excuses, not by negotiating with them, not by managing them, but by executing them with precision, without hesitation. The man who says, I'll begin when I feel ready, will be buried beside the man who never began at all. Readiness is an illusion. There is no perfect time. There is only now. There is only the moment in front of you and what you decide to do with it. Look around, observe the masses. They are comfortable, they are entertained, but they are not fulfilled. Why? Because fulfillment demands effort, and effort demands accountability. and accountability makes excuses run for cover. You see, excuses cannot exist in the presence of personal responsibility. The moment you stop blaming the government, your parents, your job, your past, the economy, or your so-called lack of time, that's the moment you awaken your true power. But as long as you are pointing outward, you will never go inward, and that is where all transformation begins. There is a simple truth that separates the exceptional from the forgotten. The exceptional accept full ownership of everything. They own their time, they own their effort, they own their failure, and because they do, they also own their future. So ask yourself, have you become too friendly with your excuses? Have you allowed them to speak for you, decide for you, and hold you hostage? If so, this is your reckoning. This is your invitation to commit what must be done, the death of the excuse-making self. You cannot become someone new while clinging to the thinking patterns of the old. You cannot walk into the life you desire while dragging the dead weight of justification behind you. What must be done is brutal but simple. Burn the list of excuses you've recited for years. Burn it until nothing remains but the ashes of what once held you back. And in those ashes, plant something new. Plant a declaration, a vow, a decision that from this moment forward, your life is your responsibility and your responsibility alone. No one is coming to rescue you. No one is going to carry you to the summit, but the good news, you don't need them to. You were born with everything required to rise: the will, the mind, the fire, and the capacity to decide. And when you make that decision, truly and finally, something strange happens. The excuses that once shouted so loudly begin to fall silent. They lose their power, not because they disappeared, but because you stopped listening. From that moment on, you are no longer a victim of circumstance, but a creator of destiny. You begin to act, you begin to move, you begin to shape your world by shaping your habits, your thoughts, your decisions. Yes, you will stumble. Yes, it will be hard, but there will be no excuse to return to. You burn the bridges, you remove the option to retreat, and that's when the real transformation begins. So stand tall, look your past in the eye, say to it, you no longer define me, say to your excuses, you no longer control me. And say to your future, I'm coming, and I'm coming without baggage, because the you that is rising, that powerful, disciplined, focused version, does not make excuses. He makes progress, she makes moves. They make history. Now go, and don't look back. You are not what you see in the mirror today. You are not your bank account. You are not the mistakes you've made, the failures you've endured, or the pain that's lived inside you. All of those things may describe where you are right now, but they do not define who you can become. The greatest deception in the world is the idea that the present version of you is permanent, that what you are now is all you'll ever be, that your past somehow has the final word on your future. This, my friend, is a lie sold to you by fear, reinforced by comfort, and accepted by the weak. But let me tell you the truth, you are always one decision away from a new direction, one act of will away from a new destiny, one defiant moment away from becoming someone no one, not even you, saw coming. You were not born to remain unchanged. You were born to evolve, to adapt, to rise. Every experience in your life, both triumph and tragedy, has shaped you, yes, but it has not sealed you. You are not a finished product. You are a blueprint waiting for construction, and the tools to build are already in your possession: your thoughts, your beliefs, your choices. Yet so many walk around imprisoned by what they were, unable to see what they can become. They say, this is just the way I am. No, it isn't. That is just the way you have chosen to remain, and what is chosen can be unchosen. You must understand something profound. The version of you that wakes up every morning isn't set in stone, it's clay, and the hands that shape that clay are your own, but there's a catch. Most people never reshape themselves because they are more committed to their identity than they are to their potential. They've worn their limitations like badges of honor. They've told themselves the same story for so long: I'm not good enough. I've always been this way. People like me don't win. that they believe it, but belief is a choice, and if you can believe in limitation, you can just as easily believe in expansion. Here's what separates the extraordinary from the ordinary. The extraordinary refuse to let their environment dictate their evolution. They don't say, "I'll grow when my situation improves." They say, "I'll improve and my situation will follow." You must start where you are with what you have exactly as you are, because the magic doesn't begin after your life changes. It begins when you change. Maybe today you're tired, you're broke, you're stuck. You've failed more times than you can count. Good. That means you're ripe for reinvention, because reinvention doesn't begin with success. It begins with dissatisfaction, with the fire in your gut that says, "This isn't who I'm meant to be." That fire is not your enemy, it is your invitation. But you must act, you must move, you must disrupt the rhythm of your old life and insert something new. A new standard, a new habit, a new way of thinking. It might start small, waking up an hour earlier, reading a chapter a day, saying no to what drains you and yes to what builds you. These decisions may seem minor in the moment, but compounded over time, they forge a version of you that is unrecognizable from the one who started. You must believe that every day is a vote for the future you. And every action you take either casts a ballot for the life you want or the life you're stuck in. Do not let your circumstances vote for you. Do not let your history keep you on a leash. You are not a product of your past. You are the architect of your future. So build with discipline, with vision, with relentless faith, and when doubt whispers, "But you've never done this before," answer back, "That's exactly why I must begin now." Who you are today is temporary. Who you choose to become is eternal. Rise from the ruins of your excuses. Stand up in the ashes of your limitations, and begin sculpting the person you were born to be, because the world doesn't need more of who you've been. It needs the full force of who you're becoming. Now go and make that version. Real transformation is not gentle. It does not arrive with flowers or kind words. It does not come wrapped in comfort or tied with a ribbon of convenience. No, transformation is war. It is the daily battle between the version of you that wants to rise and the one that refuses to move. It is a clash between vision and resistance, between boldness and fear, between who you are and who you must become. And you must understand this now. If you want to change your life, you must be willing to fight for it. There will be no applause in the beginning, no parade for your efforts, no instant reward. At first, it will be hard and it will be lonely. The alarm clock will ring earlier than it ever has. The workouts will hurt more than you imagined. The old friends may laugh or disappear, and your mind, your own mind, will try to convince you to quit. Because growth always feels like destruction at first, you are tearing down your old self brick by brick, and anything that has been standing for years will not collapse quietly. You see, most people think transformation is a ceremony. A celebration, a motivational moment. They wait for inspiration, they wait for clarity, they wait for the right time, and while they wait, the fire in them dims, the dreams get dusty, and they settle into a life they never chose, only accepted. But those who truly change, those who reinvent, they do not wait for the moment. They become the moment. They don't ask, "When will life get easier?" They declare, "I will get stronger." They know that transformation doesn't happen in front of an audience. It happens in silence, in the dark, when no one is clapping, when no one is watching, when no one is posting about it online. It happens when the alarm goes off and you rise anyway, when your legs ache but you run anyway. When fear grips you but you step forward anyway, and it happens not once, but daily until the old you finally breaks under the pressure of your persistence. This is why so few ever change, because change hurts. It demands sacrifice. It demands you let go of the stories that comforted you. It demands you stop blaming your past, your environment, your genetics, your upbringing. It demands you take full, brutal ownership of every inch of your life. There is no transformation without suffering, but there is also no freedom without transformation. And the moment you stop looking for ease and start seeking challenge, that's the moment the battlefield shifts in your favor. That's the moment you take back control. So ask yourself now, are you willing to fight? Are you willing to be misunderstood, to be doubted, to be mocked? Are you willing to feel the pain of discipline so you never again suffer the regret of staying the same? Because there will be days when you don't feel like showing up. Show up anyway. There will be days when your mind screams at you to take the easy route. Ignore it. There will be days when no progress seems visible. Keep going, because what you are building brick by painful brick is not a version of you that anyone will recognize. It is a being so refined, so focused, so powerful, that the old version of you won't even have the right to stand in the same room. And when you do emerge stronger, sharper, unbreakable, people will ask you, how did you do it? They'll look for a moment, a single turning point, but they won't understand, because what you did wasn't magic. It wasn't luck, it wasn't overnight, it was war, it was sweat, it was tears, it was refusing to let comfort dictate your future. You didn't change in a moment of inspiration, you changed in 1,000 moments of resistance. That is the truth of transformation. It is not a performance, it is a battle, and if you are willing to fight, you will win. There is no victory more powerful than the one you win against yourself. No force on earth is more potent than the man or woman who keeps the promises they make in silence when no one is watching, when there is no reward, when no one will ever know, except the person in the mirror. Let me tell you this plainly, your future is not determined by the grand gestures you show the world. Your future is carved by the quiet agreements you honor when no one claps and no one cares. Most people walk through life in the habit of breaking promises not to others, but to themselves. And each time they do, something inside them dies a little. Confidence fades, integrity cracks, identity weakens, because nothing shatters your belief in yourself faster than watching yourself not follow through. The man who says, I'll wake up at 5, but snoozes the alarm, that man is casting a vote for weakness. The woman who says, I'll stop procrastinating, but scrolls another hour, that woman is reinforcing failure. Each broken promise becomes a thread unraveling your personal power, but you can reverse this. You can rebuild yourself by doing what you say, not once, not twice, every single time, because every time you keep a promise to yourself, no matter how small, you forge a new identity. You become someone who does what they say. You become someone who can be trusted by others, yes, but more importantly, by your own mind. And once your mind begins to trust you, that's when momentum is born. Suddenly, your goals are no longer fantasies, they're targets. Your actions are no longer guesses, they're orders. Your time is no longer wasted, it's weaponized. The world respects people who show up. But the world is changed by people who show up when it's hard, when it's ugly, when it's inconvenient. That kind of reliability begins with how seriously you take your own word, because if you say you'll do it and you don't, that's not a schedule problem, that's not a discipline problem, that's a character problem. But the beautiful truth is this character can be built. Every day, every hour, you are casting votes for the person you are becoming. And every kept promise is a hammer strike on the anvil of personal greatness. Start small, but be absolute. If you say, I will train today, then train even if your body protests. If you say, I'll finish this book, then finish it, even if your mind wanders. If you say, I'll stop letting distractions rule my time, then cut them off like a surgeon, cold, clean, final, because it is not about the task, it is about the trust. You are proving to yourself that your word is law. The moment your word becomes unbreakable, your power multiplies. You no longer second guess your decisions. You no longer doubt your capacity. You begin to move with force, with focus, with faith, and yes, others will notice. They will feel your energy, they will see your results, but they won't understand where it came from, because the real transformation didn't happen in public. It happened when you did the workout with no one watching. It happened when you read the book instead of watching the show. It happened when you sat down, stayed focused, and honored the commitment you made to yourself. That's where your confidence is born. That's where belief is strengthened. That's where legends are made, in the shadows, in the silence, in the solitude of self-discipline. So today, make a promise to yourself, not a wish, not a maybe, a promise. Then keep it, and tomorrow make another. Then keep that one too, stack those promises, guard them like sacred contracts, because that's exactly what they are, and in time you will look back and realize something incredible. You didn't just build good habits. You built yourself. If you truly desire to transform your life, there is a truth you must accept, whether you like it or not. Comfort is the enemy. Comfort is the silent assassin of greatness. It creeps in unnoticed. It disguises itself as rest, ease, safety, but its mission is simple: to keep you exactly where you are, to stop your progress, to make you settle for less than what you were born to be. Let me ask you this: when was the last time growth came from comfort? When did any great man or woman ever rise by doing what was familiar? Never, because greatness begins where comfort ends. You will not become powerful doing what is easy. You will not become unrecognizable clinging to routines that produce no change. The path to reinvention is not paved with soft pillows and warm blank. It is forged through fire, resistance, and discomfort. And here lies the problem: most people aren't willing to let go of what's familiar. They fear the unknown more than they hate the prison they live in. They would rather stay with average pain they understand than risk the extraordinary life they could have, simply because it's unfamiliar. But listen closely: familiarity is not your friend. The job that pays you just enough to survive, but not enough to grow. Familiar. The people who keep you small with their limitations, their gossip, their disbelief. Familiar, the habits that drain your energy, steal your time, and blind you to your purpose. Familiar, and if you keep holding on to the familiar, your future will look just like your past. Detachment, that's the beginning of freedom. You must detach from the need to feel comfortable. You must detach from the approval of those who refuse to grow. You must detach from the identity you've built around your excuses. Yes, it will feel unnatural. Yes, it will feel lonely. Yes, it will hurt. But growth always begins in pain. You are not being punished. You are being purified. You must learn to become uncomfortable on purpose. Wake up earlier than you want. Say no when it's easier to say yes. Push harder when your body begs you to stop. Train your mind to move toward difficulty, because it is in difficulty that strength is forged. You must do the things others avoid, not because you want to suffer, but because that suffering sharpens you. Comfort dulls the blade, discomfort carves it. It is in discomfort that the future version of you begins to form, the version that has discipline, the version that can lead, the version that refuses to quit. That version does not live in your comfort zone. It is waiting for you on the other side of fear, uncertainty, and pain. And the strange truth is this: once you walk through that pain, you will discover it wasn't as unbearable as you imagined. And what you gain, confidence, clarity, control, will far outweigh what you lost. You must treat comfort like poison. It may taste sweet in the moment, but it will rot your potential if you drink too much of it. And understand this: the world is changing rapidly. Those who cling to what's comfortable will be left behind. Those who adapt, who grow, who embrace discomfort, they will rise. So today, you must choose: will you cling to what feels good but leads nowhere? Or will you stretch into what feels strange but leads to your evolution? Will you repeat what is familiar, or will you write a new chapter, one that scares you and stretches you into something greater? Comfort is a trap. It promises peace but delivers regret. Familiarity is a prison. It promises safety but denies growth. If you want a new life, you must be willing to burn the old one down. That means releasing the habits, the patterns, the people, and the mindsets that keep you anchored to mediocrity, because nothing changes until you do, and you will never change until you are willing to leave behind what is no longer serving your future. So rise today with boldness, step into the unfamiliar, and when it hurts, good. That means you're exactly where you need to be. The version of you that you've been dreaming of doesn't live in comfort. It lives in courage. The world will not clap for you while you're climbing. It only notices you once you've reached the summit. So if you're waiting for recognition, applause, or approval before you begin your transformation, let me save you time. You'll never start. Because the real work, the true transformation, the deep soul rebuilding kind of change, happens in the dark. It happens when no one is watching. It happens when no one believes in you. It happens when the voices are quiet, the lights are off, and all you've got is your will and your vision. You see, everyone wants the light, but few are willing to labor in the shadows. They want the glory, but not the grind. They want the success, but not the silence. They want the reward, but not the invisible work it takes to earn it. But let me tell you this, the darkness is not your enemy. The darkness is your proving ground. It is where you prepare, it is where you build, and if you do not embrace it, you will never survive the light. You must become comfortable working in secret, training with no crowd, studying when no one is asking. Building habits that no one understands, because when the spotlight finally comes, it will not create your power, it will only reveal what you've already built. Success is not forged in public, it is earned in private. It is earned in the quiet mornings when you rise before the sun, in the lonely hours when you choose focus over distraction, in the sacrifices that no one sees but that shape everything about you. The dream is not dead. It is just buried beneath inconsistency, doubt, and delay, and to bring it back, you must go underground, you must dig, you must toil in silence, with no recognition, only the fire inside your soul as your companion. And let me tell you something that most people won't. It will feel like no one cares. You'll question if it's worth it. You'll question if you're even making progress. But the seeds you're planting now, the work you're doing when no one sees, that is the most powerful work of all. Because it's pure, it's not for show, it's not for fame, it's for becoming. You're not just working toward a goal, you are becoming the kind of person who achieves it, and becoming always precedes arriving. That's why you must fall in love with the process, not the praise, because when the rewards do come, and they will, you won't be surprised. You'll simply nod and say, I earned this in the dark. Most will never get there. Not because they don't have talent, but because they refuse to be unseen. They crave validation more than they crave transformation. So they stop when the lights don't turn on. They quit when the world doesn't notice. But not you. You must become the one who persists in silence, who sharpens their craft when no one cares, who lays every brick with purpose, knowing that one day the world will see the mansion you've built, but they will never understand the foundation poured when no one was looking. That's the difference between those who perform and those who become. You don't need to announce your progress. You don't need to convince anyone. You just need to continue relentlessly, quietly, powerfully. Because the time will come, oh, it will come when the world looks up and asks, where did you come from? And you will smile because you know exactly where. You came from the dark. You came from the days no one saw. You came from the discipline, the routine, the choices made in silence. You built in the shadows, and now you shine in the light. So embrace this season. Embrace the obscurity. Work like no one will ever thank you, and you will live like everyone admires you. Because true success does not need to be broadcast, it is recognized the moment it arrives. Build in the dark, emerge in the light, and let your results do all the talking.